Welcome to this month's episode of Ask Asbury. September is Active Aging Month, and with me today is the king of active aging, Colin Milner. A little bit about Colin. He is the founder and CEO of the International Council on Active Aging. Colin is widely regarded as the architect of the active aging movement in North America. Recognized by the World Economic Forum as one of the world's most innovative and influential minds on aging, he's written over 300 articles, contributed to the landmark publication Global Population Aging, Peril or Promise, and has advised prominent institutions, including the World Health Organization, the European Commission, the White House Conference on Aging, and even Apple and Amazon. So Colin, not only all of that, but you are a super nice guy. And I'm so glad that you're here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Sue. And that is a mouthful, and you did a great job with it. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
making me look good, which sometimes a hard thing to do.
It's an easy thing to do, Colin. It's so fun to have you here because you really are like the premier expert on active aging. We share that passion. I think I've met my match as far as somebody who's even more passionate than me about this topic. So thank you for coming. I'm so glad everybody that I talk to gets to meet you through this platform.
Well, so am I, and I'm looking forward to the conversation as we always have great ones.
Good. All right. Well, I actually had to write down some stumper questions for you this time. Okay. Question number one, Colin. We talk a lot about living longer, but what do you see as the most overlooked ingredient in helping older adults live better, not just longer?
Well, I think that's a great question because it depends who you ask. There's so many different people that have, as they say, irons in the fire, and they'll put in their point of view. I try and look at the whole perspective, and I would say that, social connection is probably at the root of aging well, because we know that social isolation has some significant negative impacts on your health and well-being, from mental health to physical, all across the continuum. So I would say that one is social. A lot of people don't realize as we get older, our world sometimes gets a little bit smaller, and we need to intentionally grow that world. And if I could add another one, and that's the spiritual part of things. Every survey that we have done for the last 23 years, 24 years, has always put the spiritual part of wellness down towards the very bottom. And really, as you get older and you look for purpose in life, the purpose and spirituality go hand in hand. So I think that those are two that are often not focused on as much as they could be. We spend a lot of time focusing on physical activity because it's crucial to maintain our functional ability. But I think those two are often overlooked to the degree that they could have the impact that they do.
Right. Wow. That's absolutely true, though. And it seems so obvious when you state it. But that's a great answer, Colin. Thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Okay. Question number two. If you had to identify one dimension of senior wellness that most communities or programs consistently underestimate, what would it be, and why does it matter more than people think?
Oh, absolutely spiritual.
Yeah.
Year in, year out, again, it is the very bottom when it comes to communities that have some form of spiritual programs, spiritual activities. So it's really unfortunate because, all of us in some way, shape, or form are spiritual beings. So we want to connect not just with ourselves, but with, what is the greater meaning of us being here. So that has unfortunately been consistent for the last 24 years. And the latest survey doesn't show that it's really improved that much.
Yeah, I can see that because if it's not a faith-based organization that really follows some sort of structure, and you have different people coming in from different backgrounds and with different needs, and maybe they just say, well, we're just going to overlook all of it. It's just too hard to provide something for everybody. But spirituality doesn't have to be a formalized religion or religious practice, right? It's
No,
much more
not
than
at
that.
all. It's really about being in the moment, connecting with yourself, connecting with nature. Connection is the key to spirituality, no matter what you're connecting to. So I think that we need to just step back, reflect a little bit on our lives, and figure out how we want to connect and with who and what.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that, Colin. So we don't have to overthink it, right?
That's the biggest drawback that most of us do is we think about things, but we don't do them.
Right. Well said. Okay, next question. Which recent finding in aging or brain health research do you believe should change the way we design wellness programs today, but it hasn't trickled down into practice yet?
Oh, I think the latest findings from the International Alzheimer's Association, but their findings show that you are able to, push out further as we can with disease in general if you incorporate lifestyle changes. Doesn't mean everybody's going to have that. Doesn't mean that it's going to work for each and every one, but they're looking at the accumulated numbers. And it's the same stuff that we've all talked about for a long time.
Yeah.
There's no secret to living a better quality life. And that is, if you move, if you breathe, hopefully you're breathing, otherwise you have a problem. If you are connected, if you are doing social connections, if you're doing all the things that you and I talk about day in, day out, the research shows that there is benefit to that. What degree of benefit will vary per person. However, you see research that comes out that says, if you walk and you walk faster, you're going to get results. If you walk, you get results. If you walk backwards, you get results. If you walk like Monty Python, you get results. So the reality is just doing it is the hardest part. So I think that for me was really exciting to read that. And someone like yourself in the area of brain health, I would think that would be, something that was front and center because compared to other areas, the progress has been much slower.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like they were focused on the wrong thing for too long. But that's another
Well,
conversation.
yeah, we always focus on medicine, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of dollars around that.
Hmm.
But the reality is that when you look at almost everything, it comes back to
Yeah.
simple lifestyle changes. It's not very complicated. It's a
No, it's
lot,
not that fun.
no,
Yeah.
it's a lot harder to do.
Yep. Yep. Gosh, it's so obvious though, right? The anecdotal side of that has been around forever. And now finally we
Oh,
have some research to back it, and it feels really good that it's all coming to the forefront where it should be.
yeah, our bodies, as an example, were designed to move. They weren't designed to sit. And so many of us sit on the way to work, sit for breakfast, then we sit in the office, then we sit in the car back home, then we sit for dinner, then we sit to watch TV, then we sit on the toilet, and then we go to bed, and then we lie flat. So, we don't really move a whole lot, and
Yeah,
that's a problem.
it is a problem. Yeah, it's what feeds our brains in the first place. It's all the movement.
Very much so.
Yeah. All right. Well, I could talk about that topic forever, but we're gonna on to your next question, Colin. Okay. Many programs focus on keeping seniors active. But in your experience, what is the difference between keeping somebody busy versus creating experiences that truly strengthen health and meaning?
Engagement. It's really that simple. And that is, you can always tell at a party who's engaged and who's sitting in the back, who's a little bit nervous, doesn't want to engage with people. And there's other people that are fully engaged with each other, talking, having a good time. Same thing with sports. You can tell those that are really fully engaged in a game. You go watch a bunch of kids play, as an example, and you'll always see a couple kids off to the side that aren't engaged in chasing the ball. So I think the results come from our engagement. The
Mm-hmm.
joy comes from our engagement. The satisfaction comes from our engagement. So now a lot of communities have what's called engagement directors or lifestyle engagement directors. Uh, I love the title, but I'd like to see the engagement strategy
Mm-hmm.
because I think that it's great to have a name, but you need a strategy to engage residents, to engage staff, to engage everyone. And if you can achieve that, you're way ahead of most.
Yeah, well said. Pretty concise too.
Well, we try and not to take up too much of the air. There's only so much of the breathing that is left to go around.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that engagement topic has come up in our community also at Asbury, and you know, we try to make space for the more of the introvert or the person who lacks the ability to demonstrate engagement, right? But there's nothing that says you can't feel fully engaged with your eyes closed, listening to music and letting it take you someplace. And you know, so while that person might not look like, you know, like demonstratively engaged or active or, you know, but they're fully experiencing it. We're trying to build conversations around that too, because there's other ways to maybe to judge somebody else's engagement is hard to do, but we try to
Oh,
like keep our eyes
absolutely.
open for that.
Absolutely. I mean, I could lie here and listen to Clair de Lune by Debussy, and I would be fully engaged in the song, and I would be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you have to have, when you talk about experience, you have engagement, but you have something that transcends people to somewhere else. That's where the experience comes in. If I walk into the community, I want to be transcended to somewhere else. If I'm in the programs and I'm doing something, I want to be transcended to somewhere else. When I lie back and listen to Debussy, I'm transcended, to be frank, to the Salt Spring Islands in British Columbia, and it brings back a certain memory, and it's a great memory, and I'm just chilling.
Yeah, sounds great. But yeah, very true. All right, here's your last question, Colin. You ready?
Oh my. Okay.
Okay. If we fast forward 10 years, what will surprise us most about how senior wellness is defined? What do you think will be added or left behind in that definition?
Great question. Um, I think first off, the definition will be the exact same, and I'll tell you why. Because right now, if you are looking at the whole person, you are looking at that individual, you're looking at the programs you deliver, you're looking at the environments you create, you're looking at the experiences that are had. So, first off, it will continue to look at the whole person. The difference is it will go much deeper into the whole person. So, as you look at the cognitive part of things or brain health, we will go much, much deeper. One, from an assessment standpoint, two, from a programmatic standpoint and an understanding standpoint. Three is incorporating technology to better deliver all of these different elements. I think we're going to see technology accentuate the capabilities of what we're able to do around the various areas of wellness. But wellness as a whole, I think, will still remain the same because it is focused on the individual. It's how we deliver it and with what tools, where and when that will change. So I think the environment that you just talked about with the experience, that's going to change a lot. I think it will become much more experiential. I think you'll see a lot more technology utilized that will change lights and change images, and you'll be like in a sci-fi movie today, kind of like what Jetsons was in many years ago, and now we're living many of those different elements. We will also get much greater assistance through technology, whether it's exoskeletons like Samsung's Fitbot or things like that, especially if you have some challenges. I think that you will see, that there's a much greater focus on making everything socially connected, but also enabling people to be self-directed as they see fit. There's a whole movement about residents creating and delivering programs, and I think that that is fantastic. But not everybody wants to take a program from their pair. Not everybody wants to deliver a program, so I think you have to balance it out. I think that the communities will be in downtowns, and they will be around where all the action is. They'll be surrounded by a 15-minute city where you can access every and anything within a 15-minute walk, which is already happening. So I think it's a very exciting time. The question is whether we go along with that or whether we get left behind. And, some industries are a little slower to move forward than others. So I'm hoping that senior living looks at the wellness lifestyle and that basically becomes an automatic. They don't even have to think about it, kind of like what care is today. Our goal would be to reduce the need for care so that
Mhm.
people lead more fulfilled lives. I know that that's a mouthful, but that's kind of succinct.
Right. No, I hear you. I think if we can leave the sick care to the to the bare minimum of the whole continuum, or like we're so wellness focused and so health focused and able to serve so many people with so many needs, of a variety of intensity, but that's still the focus. And then the sick care is just a tiny little piece. That would
I
be
mean, if we care for someone and we really care for someone, our goal is to ensure that their care is enabling them to be better and do better. And by doing so, enabling them to not need that care, which is contrary to the model that most communities work by. But every model changes over time based on consumer demand. And this one is at the tipping point of changing and changing rapidly.
changing in which direction.
Changing more towards a wellness focus
Mm-hmm.
and a lifestyle focus. No one gets born and says, I want to spend the last 5 years of my life, in care and not being able to do the things I want to do. So,
Right.
how do we prevent that? How do we reduce that? Or how do we manage that so that people are able to live what I call autonomous living, being able to do the things they want, when they want, and with who they want? That is the goal for any community moving forward, is to empower people to do that. And if we do that, all the other domino pieces will fall into place.
Oh, I agree, Colin. That's really well said, and I think you painted the picture really well of what the future should be, hopefully.
Well, thanks, Sue. That's why I'm the world's greatest. No,
Do
I'm just.
you want me to read your bio intro?
Okay. Oh, yes. It's an outro. You can read it as we leave.
I will. Was there anything else you wanted, the listeners to hear about? Any exciting things happening in the wellness industry? Anything with ICAA?
Well, I think you just said the word exciting. It's actually a very exciting time if you are in the wellness area because there's so much happening. It's also a very difficult time if you're in the wellness area because there is so much happening. The question is, where do you put your focus? Because there's a lot of new things coming out, new toys, as I like to call them, the bling effect, a lot of things that can distract you from as we've seen with Alzheimer's over the years, a lot of things that can distract you, but it really comes back to the basics. So,
Yes.
I think if we keep our eyes on the basics and then figure out how to deliver those basics in the most compelling way possible, then we have a very compelling story for the future.